everybody. So I'm about to, hold on one second, there we go. I'm about to do a second one of these, and you've seen pictures already, but I did want to do a start to finish. Hopefully I can do it. I wanted to finish one first, make sure I'm happy with it and the way I made it. So I'm glad I did this first, and then I'm going to do another one recorded, only because when I was painting this thing, I went from one idea, didn't work out, and I had to paint several different things until I came up with this. So now what I did is I altered a Dollar Tree mirror. Comes like this. They still had them at mine. I'm glad, because I only had the one. Then I went out for something and went to see if they had any more. So they did. So this is from the Dollar Tree, and I've altered one a while ago in a steampunk style, but this time I wanted to turn them into gifts with pictures in them. So it's kind of like a little picture frame, and I'm making a second one because one's going to Natasha and the other one's going to go to Janet, and we had met up in February just after my birthday, so we were all having fun, and we put on stuff in our hair or our heads. And that was the only group shot that we had, it came out great actually. So I wanted to gift them something for spring, Easter, and I thought this would be the perfect thing to give them so they could remember that day, and you know, and have a project of mine. So it doesn't have anything to hang. They could either put it on like a little easel, or if they want to put it on the wall, you know, just stick a nail, you know, somewhere. I don't know how you would put a nail, or they could like maybe attach something here, but I think I would prefer it for myself, if I had one of these, to sit it on a little easel, and just that, because I do have a dangle here. So the other one that I make is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be exactly like this. I kind of did it to go with the person. I know that she likes this kind of color here, and of course she loves bling and everything, and of course she likes pink and shabby chic and all that. Plus, you know, there's a crown for her, of course, for Natasha. So this one is for Natasha, and I use hoarded bits on here, hoarded pieces, like this one right here someone gave me. Don't recall who, but I had two of these. And this piece here, I don't even remember who gave me what, but that and that. And I don't remember if someone gave me this one or not. So, and then this I had, and then there's two metal pieces here. I wanted to extend it, and I'm going to show you and explain this one because I don't know if the second one's going to look exactly the same, but the technique is going to be the same. I wanted the handle to look a little bit bigger and longer, so the metal piece, I don't know where that came from, which I just kind of put out a little bit so it stuck out more, so the handle looked a little bigger, because once you add all this stuff in here, this part looks huge compared to the handle. So there's two pieces layered. One of them was given to me by Tammy, and it was already frontaged. Then I hung this piece, which had a little loop here so you can hang things, and that's where I put that dangle bow. Under here I actually put another hoarded piece. It kind of got covered with all the trim, but it's there. So it's a really pretty piece. Alright, so then I just put about 3 layers of trims that I had in my stash. This satin ruffle trim. This is a double layer trim. This here is also a double layer trim from my stash. And then this bling strand is actually from Natasha Scrapbook Corner from her shop. So those are one of my favorite trims. And then I just added Wild Orchid Craft flowers, all of these here, not this one. And then these are, let's see, Spare Parts, which is from Hobby Lobby. So I used that shade of blue from this pack. And I did gesso everything. I even gessoed in the picture because the original picture, I printed out several times. You see all this over here, which is not the prettiest, plus that. So I gessoed, oops, to kind of cover it up, and then I also had put flowers in there as well. So all you see is us. And then this crown was a hair, let's see, this was attached to it. Something just fell here. Oh, okay. So it's, you know, a hair comb, and this just pulled right out actually. So I didn't even have to snip it. It just pulled out. I just kind of have to pull hard, but and that is from, where did I get that from? I don't know if I got this from Target or from the Party City. I don't recall, but you know, you'll probably find it anywhere. And when I glued it down, I did press it down because it's actually more arched than this. And then I just held it in place until the glue set. Everything was put together with hot glue. Alright, so, and then this was painted. It was gessoed first a couple times. I gessoed and then I painted it with a brown color, because I wanted some brown to kind of peek underneath in the cracks and stuff. And then I went over it with a gold color, and then I didn't like it. And then I went over it with a peach color, and then I didn't like it. So then I just gessoed it heavily, and then I liked it. So that's why, yeah, I'm gonna do something differently with the other one. But you know, the first 2 steps I didn't like, or 3 steps, and then after I gessoed it all, and then you could just see it peeking through the peach, the gold, and tiny dots of brown. Just makes it look old, you know. And then I just heavily gessoed in some places, so, but you can still see the colors in there. So that's the finished product, and this one is for Natasha. So I'm going to stop the camera, and then I'm going to do a voiceover when I do the second one. Alright. So I'm showing you the Dollar Tree mirror. I'm just going to take it out of the packaging. It has, what are those called? Staples in there, and I just taken it out with my pliers, because Staples and me don't get along. It is plastic. The handle's actually kind of soft. It kind of bends. So here I'm just rubbing the impression of the frame onto some paper, some like copy paper, so that I can make a template for my picture, and then I could cut my picture to fit that mirror. And I'm cutting within the line that I made. Making sure, you know, it's going to fit within there and cover the glass. Now I'm going to take my picture, and I'm going to take out a black marker as well. And I'm going to trace it. And I'm not worrying that the picture is going to have those white margins there, because they're going to get covered up. And then I'm going to cut it within the black line. And I just use 4x6 glossy photo paper for Canon. You don't have to use glossy. You could print it if you wanted to blow it up more. If your orientation of the picture is similar, you can blow it up more and zoom in to the faces more. But I left it like that because I knew I was going to be adding more stuff around there. Right now I'm going to go ahead and gesso that picture and put it to the side and let it dry. So you're going to see how I cover up the background and the white space that's there. That gesso, what's inside is not exactly what the label is on the outside. I have no idea what brand it is, but I bought a big jar at Tuesday morning, and I just put it in the smaller jar. So I'm just carefully going around. I'm not putting it on thick. That's how I like to do my gessoing. Every time I say I gessoed something, I'm dabbing it on lightly, and it looks like a snow effect kind of. And you just keep going over the same spot if you want it to look thicker or not. And I'm putting it on thicker where the white space is. And then kind of like fan it out a little bit. So that covers up all the ugliness behind us. And then I'm just going to put the picture to the side and then start on the mirror. See? Perfect. So I'm going to paint on the gesso. I think I only put one coat on here. I don't record every second of this, so I do stop and, you know, come back. I'm just showing you the brush in case anyone else. I think it's called Fiber Castle. I don't know what it's called. So, and I'm trying to make sure I'm going into all the cracks so none of the silver is showing. And I do it on the glass as well, not just because I want to block the mirror image, but I'm going to be gluing the photo to that, and I have a feeling it would glue better to the gesso and not directly onto the mirror. So I had already finished painting on the gesso. Now I'm going to do some colors here. I use the Key West first to paint the whole thing, and then I just daub on that lighter blue color. I'm just testing it out here to see how it looks. I didn't know which one I wanted to paint the whole thing, and I thought that's too light, so I'm just going to use the other one. And then I daub on with the dauber the light blue, kind of like I do with gesso, just not as much. And that's when I was testing it to see if I liked it, and I did. I am trying to do it more so that it would coordinate with beach themes, because this one is for Janet and she does love the beach theme. Her home has a lot of beach theme stuff. Although I don't have anything beach themed, I have no shells, I have nothing beach themed other than a digital kit. I didn't really want to use that digital kit, so I just went with colors that would coordinate with the beach theme. And that's like the perfect one is the Key West. She does live in Florida too, so it works out with those colors. Okay, so I did dry with my heat tool. That's why I showed you that heat tool, because I can't wait for things to dry. So, you know, I did use it. You just gotta keep moving the heat tool. Since it is plastic, you don't want to melt it. And although I'm using this lighter blue on to kind of accentuate all the decor that's on there, all those raised swirls and things, you know, later on I do use the white gesso and do the same thing and kind of cover some of it up. But it does bring out all that design. For something cheap from the dollar store, it's actually pretty when you paint it like that. See, I'm drawing it there, and then that way I can hold the handle and then paint the other side. As you can see, I'm moving my heat tool. I'm not leaving it in one spot. So now I could just continue and doing the other side. I most likely will be picking up at least one more mirror just to have in my stash, because I love how these came out, and such a great idea to put pictures in them instead of using them as a mirror. So I thought that's, you know, really cute and cheap. Great idea for Mother's Day, now that Mother's Day is coming up. For anything, really. Okay, so now I'm going to glue down my photo, and I'm just going to brush on this tacky glue. You can use decoupage glue, any kind of glue that you think would hold it down. And I do use the brush to smooth it all out so it's all even and I don't get lumps in the picture. So it's nice and smooth and flat. And then I put down my picture. And then what I'm going to do here, I'm putting that down so I don't scratch the photo. As you can see, I'm just kind of trying to get any air bubbles out and just flattening it all out. I take a break so that I can go and wash my brush, because that glue would really ruin my brush. I am going to now glue on my trims, and those trims I found in the Miami warehouses, all of them. All 3 of those I found at the Miami warehouses. And we're just going to glue these down with hot glue all the way around the picture. And I don't want to cover too much of the picture, so I do most of it right on that little ledge of the frame of the mirror. I'm pulling it off because it was out too far and you could see the stitching on the back. I didn't want you to see that, so it looked better on the back side when you flip over the mirror. That's why I keep turning it around. And I'm just trying to see here, making sure that I still have space to put 3. I'm showing you NSK, which is Natasha's Scrapbook Corner. That's that trim I mentioned that is from her shop, from Natasha's shop. I had already put all 3 trims down. I didn't need to record all that. It was just the same thing, just glue it all down. And I'm carefully trying to put this trim down so that I don't get glue strands on the photo. And then the trim there, I'm just trying to get it so it's not too far down and covering up the edge of the other trim. So it's kind of going inward a little bit. And I'm using that napkin because I'm turning that mirror a lot and I don't want the paint to scratch off. I haven't finished it with any kind of sealant or anything. I never do seal anything that I paint. So, but you can totally do that if you want. See, I'm just trying not to get any of those glue strands on the photo, because once it's stuck down, it doesn't come off of the photo. It just, you just have a glue strand stuck on there for life. Okay, so now it didn't reach all the way around. It's just one little spot that didn't go. But I'm going to be putting flowers, so it doesn't matter. So I'm going to be doing that metal layering right there. I don't know why I have the paper underneath, but okay, so that's from Butterbee Scraps, I believe. I don't know if she still has a store, but I've had that for a long time. I don't use them that often, so, and I haven't, shopped there in a while. I'm going to gesso that first. I do 2 coats on the front and 1 on the back, but I do dry it in between. And you have to be careful because the heat tool will heat that metal up and it'll burn you, so I use those tweezers to hold it. And then one more coat for the front. Alright, so it's dry. I'm going to glue it, and I put a ton of glue. You could use E6000, but here's the thing. When you glue something that's been painted to something else that's been painted, what you're really sticking is paint to paint. If it was just the bare handle and just the metal piece without any paint, then you could use the E6000 and it's bonding really good, and then you paint it all as one piece. But that's why I just used the hot glue, because the E6000, all it's going to do is stick to the paint and eventually come off, which would happen possibly with the hot glue as well. But I do put a lot. It seeps through all those little holes, and I did that to all the pieces that I'm laying on there. The other piece that I laid on there is another piece from Tammy, SS Crafter 1, that she sent me a few of those in a swab a while back. It was already gessoed and with frontage and everything. That little flower, I have no idea where it came from, but I'm sure it was like from Michael's or something. And it has a loop and already has a little jump ring on the end. So I will be attaching that little dangle. And I think that's from Michael's too, but I have no idea what brand it is. So I just go ahead and open up the jump ring and attach it to that flower, so I have a dangle on there. But I love that flower that I added because it's, it's like a turquoise and it reminds me of a beach. So here I am pulling apart that hair comb with the crown, and I kind of bend it. I kind of manhandle it. It doesn't break. It's rubber kind of. So I just put glue on the two ends, a lot, and I'm going to press it down into my piece and hold it there. And once it dries, it stays in place and keeps that shape. I think I was blowing on the glue just to dry it. Alright, so here I'm just trying to figure out how I want to put these little pieces just to make that plastic crown look like $1,000,000, just adding a few little extra bling pieces. And you can always add little tiny rhinestones in all those little holes or in a few of the little holes that are on that crown, but I think just a couple of pieces that I added were just enough for this. That was an earring, and I just cut off that backing. And that was also like a vintage earring. And I couldn't get that back piece off. I had taken off the other part, but that last piece I couldn't get, so I ended up leaving it. It does bend, so I just try to fix it. And I couldn't figure out which direction I could put this so that that back piece wasn't in the way. You can kind of see that piece that I'm talking about there. So now it's underneath the crown. And it's laying flat, and then I put the earring on the top, the other one. I just was trying to get it to lay flat. That's why I was playing with it so much. I think, do I use that piece? Yeah, I do use it later. I think I use all three of those pieces that I have sitting there. So that's from Prima. Got it at Tuesday morning. I end up using both of those flowers. So I used up that pack. I was going to take out the stamen, but then I left them in there. I thought they didn't matter if they were there or not. Those, where were they? I don't even know. I went too fast. Petaloo. burlap flowers. And burlap is really um, a good thing to use with beach themes and the colors as well. With all those layers of trim, I just wanted to kind of glue them down and give me a more solid base for the flowers to sit on and it's not flopping around. And then I put this one under there just so it could peek. It's kind of like I did with the other one. And there goes that center. Except for that piece, all the other pieces were either given to me or bought from like Michael's and stuff like that. That blue piece somebody gave me. So I have no idea where they come from. I know you can just buy like vintage or old jewelry pieces at thrift stores and stuff. I was never lucky to find stuff like that. At least not cheap enough. So for the most part, they were all given to me. I keep going back to that, but I do use it. I think I use it on this peach flower. It's like, where do I want to put this flower? I'm trying to just use up packages of things, you know, finish them up so that I don't have to store like one flower. And that way I'm using up my stash. And this is where I put that piece there. I think Natasha gave me that, if I'm not mistaken. So this flower here, it's too big for where I want to put it. So I cut it in half and I use it in 2 spots. It's kind of hard to cut through because it had the steaming wires in there. Then I kind of slipped that one underneath the crown. This way I have a little bit of those blue burlap flowers on that side, but not too much. I didn't want to completely go around the whole frame with flowers. I was trying to, you know, leave some trim showing. So now we're breaking out the paper flowers from, I think the ones that I use here are all from Wild Orchid Crafts, except for the tiny white ones. Those I think I find at the Miami warehouse. Sorry for my squeaky chair. I do take apart some of them because I need them to be smaller, so I'll take the back set of petals off just for something a little bit smaller, and I don't have to go and look for smaller flowers in my stash. That's like a pale peach color. Yeah, I know I want to use a couple more. I just didn't know where to put them. So I'm looking at it and seeing what else do I need, and then I decide to use up the rest of those spare parts flowers. I had used the other colors out of there in the first mirror, so I thought, you know what, let me bring in some darker blue, kind of like the deep dark ocean, but the deep side, you know, where it's so deep and it's dark. Although I do end up adding the gesso and it just tones down that dark blue. It's really hard for me to stop and not keep adding. I end up covering a lot of the trim, but it's like I just gotta keep going until that one point where I said, okay, that's enough. Enough flowers, Louisa. Okay, so I think we're almost done adding flowers, and then I'm gonna be daubing on gesso everywhere, on the flowers and the mirror, the frame, the handle, everywhere. So I do hope that you like this process video. I tried to record most of it this time. I know a lot of times I just forget to record, like hit the record button when I'm doing placing things down. Sometimes all you see is already everything has been placed down. So I tried really hard to record this for you guys, because I know some of you need to see how I place things, and really, as you can see, sometimes I don't know where stuff's gonna go. I just kind of, you know, look and see where else do I need things and how does it look. But yeah, and then not all my projects I finished with gesso, but the majority of things, like if I have a lot of flowers on there, the majority of them I do put gesso. I just like that look of the gesso. On that little piece there, I'm trying to put extra gesso. There's a little, like a rhinestone, not really a rhinestone, it's kind of a peachy stone of some sort that was actually missing. And I didn't realize that till I was, you know, doing that part. So I go in later and you'll see me with something to just drop a little bit of gesso in the hole, in the empty hole. And it just kind of camouflaged the fact that that piece was missing, because I know I don't have anything to match and replace it. I think I use my tweezers for that. And you see, I'm just going all over the place with the gesso. I do daub it off. I don't put it on too thick. And you could use like a textured gesso if you want. Add sand to it and make it even more shabby. Or you could use that Snow Tech stuff. I stopped using, there, right there I'm adding that extra gesso right in the hole. And then I just kind of go back. Anyway, I stopped using the Snow Text because it just got too clumpy as I was trying to use it, and it was just, it didn't work out too well. Although I like the finished look of all that texture. I do dry it up so then I could turn it around and do the other side. And I did gesso on all the bling and even the dangle. I just don't saturate it with it. You know, I just do a little bit, touches of it. So now we're just going to do it the back. And first I'm going over all the design work that's back there, anything that's raised, and then I go around and do some more. But I don't completely cover it with gesso. I still want to see all the other colors that I had underneath. Alright everyone, so that is pretty much it. I'll show you the finished product in a second. So I hope you like this video, and thank you all for watching, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Bye now.